Go. So, actually, thank you for coming and attending this, let's say, interview. And actually, I looked through your life, and you're really a long time into politics, and even your family. So,
Yes, you're right.
and what changed your mind to go out of your conservative party and found a new people's party? Why did you just went this way instead of staying with your conservative party in Canada?
But first, Alexandra, thank you for having me. I'm very pleased to be with you. And yes, you're right. I'm not a career politician. I did work in the private sector before being in politics. Actually, I worked 19 years in the financial sector in Montreal, Canada. And after that, in 2006, I decided to jump into politics with Stephen Harper at that time. He was the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, and also he was the leader of the opposition in Canada. So, but my dad was also in politics before me. He was elected in 1984 and 1988 and 1993 as a conservative under the Prime Minister of Brian Mulroney. So when I decided to jump into politics in 2006, I was living in Montreal, but I decided to go and back in my little town, Saint-Georges-de-Beauce, near Quebec City, south of Quebec City, because my dad was elected there for more than 13 years. So I said, I'll go back there. I still have some friends there. And I decided to try to be elected. And I was elected in 2006. I was industry minister under Stephen Harper. 2008, I was foreign affairs minister. And so I had different position with the Harper government. And as you know, in 2015, Stephen Harper lost the election. The Conservative lost the election, and Justin Trudeau was elected. And we had a leadership contest with the Conservative Party at that time in 2016 and 2017. I was a candidate to be the leader of the Conservative Party. During that leadership contest. I didn't win with 49% of the vote at that time in 2017. And the winner and the leader of the Conservative Party at that time was Andrew Scheer. He won with 51% of support. And, I decided to support him and stay in the Conservative Party of Canada with him. But, I did run with a strong free markets, real conservative values platform for my leadership contest. And a couple of months, 15 months after Andrew Scheer was elected the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada in 2018, I had a meeting with him, and I wanted him to take some of my ideas to put in the next electoral campaign in 2019 at the federal level in Canada. But he said, no, Maxime, I won't take any of your ideas. And that was free markets, balancing the budget, lower taxes, not being part of the Paris Accord, climate change hysteria, and, fighting for a controlled immigration. And so he said, no, I won't take any of your ideas because your ideas were popular with the members of the Conservative Party of Canada during the leadership contest. But we did some polling and focus group, and they are not popular with the population in general. And my goal is to be a Prime Minister of Canada. So I won't take any of your ideas. And after that, I resigned, and I'm answering your question. I resigned and I said, this party, the Conservative Party of Canada, is morally and intellectually corrupt because they don't promote real conservative values. And by doing that, they're giving more credibility to the leftist narrative. And so I said, I'm a real conservative, and the Conservative Party of Canada is conservative only in name. If you look at the policies, they're the same as the Liberals, almost. So I resigned in 2018, and we created with the same ideas that I pushed forward during the leadership campaign. We use the same ideas based on four principles: individual freedom, personal responsibility, fairness, and respect. And all our policies are in line with these principles. So we created the People's Party in 2018. We had our first election in 2019 with 1.2% of the vote. In 2021, the other election with 5% of the vote. And at every election, we have always the same platform. We don't do any polling and focus group because we believe that the population in Canada has been manipulated by the leftist media. And so we are there to promote our real conservative values, free market values, individual freedom. And at every electoral campaign in Canada, it's always the same platform. And we had a different platform, electoral platform, than all these other establishment political parties. And on immigration, for example, we are the only party, national political party in Canada that is asking for a moratorium on immigration, a pause on immigration for a couple of years. And we need to deport all illegals in Canada. We have a lot of people. It's between 1 and 4 million people in Canada. We don't know the real number. So we are fighting for Canadians and putting our country first. And that's why we called our party the People's Party. And now, after 7 years, we will be ready for the next general election that may happen maybe in 4 years. We have a minority government in Canada. It can happen earlier than that. So we have a liberal minority government in Canada. And now the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada is Pierre Poilievre. He was not able to win the last campaign because the platform of the Conservative and the Liberals are almost the same. So that's the People's Party, and that's why we decided to give a real alternative to Canadians with a different political party that will fight for ideas and values and try to educate and inform the population and having more and more support.
Well, it sounds like in Germany we have the same. We got the Conservative Party, it's CSU, CDU, and they actually switched the same way. They're more the liberal party, and I think it's international wide, sort of.
Yeah.
And yes, the more people are, let's say, getting awakened, I would say so, because even we we got öffentlich-rechtliche medias, and actually it's a state contract that they have to observe and show everything. And unfortunately, they got a long nose right now of Pinocchio. And so they are leaving out the most important things and stuff, and they are just right now in Germany they are saying, oh, Putin is the bad boy, and they're really supporting the war, unfortunately. And you could compare it in Germany. You really could compare it to the Third World War and the Second World War, and with Hitler almost the same. And I think, yeah, on my opinion, the conservative parties are waking up the real ones. In Germany, we got the AfD.
Yeah.
It's the alternative for Germany. And believe it or not, we got things. It's no more real, let's say, it's far away of free opinion and free press. And it's interesting. It's a bit dictatorship, I would say. And yes, I think it's people are changing. They're realizing that they went on the wrong platforms. And I think humans are like that. They want to help. They want to be creative. They want to build up. And we have the same thing in Germany as well, that many people come in the country and our system is as well, let's say, need to be reconstructed, because we support them with everything we have. So it's our taxes which support those people who came in, and I think it's understandable, but I always say, you have to help the country in their country self, in their own countries, to support their own countries and their strengths, instead of just oppressing them, getting every money out of them, like our colonial wonderful countries did, like Spain, France, and Great Britain. And they still do, unfortunately, in Africa, for example. So that's a matter we really have to face, but in their own countries. And yes, and I think it's worldwide, as you just said. The media is it's well, yeah, Pinocchio. I think it's the best, the best expression for it, in a nice way. They unfortunately lie a lot, but we in Germany, we have lots of alternative medias, so it's really raising, which is I think it's very important that more and more people are getting different views and different perspectives. And like you in your country, you face almost the same.
Oh, yeah.
And what do you think that what will be the most important thing to tell the people to realize where we are heading? Like you said, with the Paris Agreement of so-called CO2 climate change, which always changed, by the way, but it's in general it's our solar system which is changing climates, so it's not humans uh, in what we do. What do you think it's the most important thing to really to get more connected to people, that they realize where some WEF and Bilderbergers and whoever we call them, those in Germany we have a saying, armselig, that means poor souls. So all those poor souls, that they're just let's say on the evil track, and to really get the people to realize it, to see with like Saint-Exupéry said, with the heart, and to really see more, yeah, just to realize the truth. How do you
Yeah.
think that we are going to get there? It's you just formed this People's Party, which is a wonderful word, and a wonderful, I guess, a wonderful party. And it's very simple. I think to keep it to the some simple points. And I think liberals, they also have their, let's say, the good ideas, but you never should wipe away, let's say, the middle class, which we in our country, they try to wipe it away. And I think that's the most fundament of all societies. And on the other hand, still have a, let's say, social marketplace, of course,
Yeah.
but not only totally social, which makes no sense. On the one hand side, and the oppression I saw while the Corona time, it was really interesting. And even in your country with Trudeau, one of the young global leaders, very nice. um, and still people are not aware. Sort of, they really, they're ostrich. They put their head in the sand and say, I don't see anything. How can we, what do you think, how can we get more into the mindset of people that they realize the truth?
Yeah, you have a point there, Alexandra, and I agree with you. Here in Canada, the People's Party is a populist party. We are the most important for us. We want to end mass immigration, like I said. The economy is very important. We have huge deficit, a huge debt. We are going into a recession in Canada. Taxes are very high, and we have a big fat government at the federal level that is telling us what to do and what not to do, like they did during the COVID-19 here in Canada with draconian measures, unconstitutional, and for me, illegal and against our freedom of choice. But that populist movement, the good news is it is everywhere, like in Germany with the AFP, like, your populist political party over there, in UK with Nigel Farage, as you may know, and the Reform Party over there. In Japan, they had upper house elections a couple of weeks ago, and the populist movement was the winner of that elections. So in Western countries, and we can speak about the US and the effect of Donald Trump also. But all across the Western world, I believe that populist movements are growing. And for us in Canada, for us in Canada, it's a little bit more difficult to have our first candidate elected because, like in a lot of countries in Europe, you have a proportional representation. So for us, it's the first past the post. There's no proportionality in our electoral system like in UK. And so it's more difficult for a political party to have our first candidate elected. But I believe it will come maybe for us at the next election. And the way why I'm optimistic about that, it's because, like you said, the mainstream media right now is very influential, but we have a lot of not new media, social media, and alternative media that are growing, and young people are not watching anymore the news on TV with the mainstream media in Canada. So for us, our goal is to reach to these young people, and they're more open and they know that the future will be very difficult for them. Our country is changing with mass immigration. Our social fabric is changing right now. And I can say with that mass immigration, it's the beginning of the replacement of our population. Last year, the growth of our population in Canada, 95% of the growth of our population was coming from immigration. And the most majority of immigrants were coming from India and China. And so that's a big transformation of our social fabric in Canada, and it's happening in Western countries. I know that in Sweden now and other countries, they want to control and end mass immigration like us in Canada. Some are speaking about remigration, so giving incentives to migrants to leave the country and going back to their country of origin. For us, we need to end that mass immigration, no more immigrants, doing the deportation. And after that, yes, if we have money for that and offering some incentives to migrants to go back to their country of origin, I believe this is the biggest challenge for Western countries. I believe it's the same in Germany, in France, in UK, immigration, the economy. And you spoke about the war in Ukraine. We, the People's Party, we were the only national political party against the war in Ukraine in the beginning. For us, Russia is not our enemy, and now what NATO is doing is an offensive, and that's not a war between Ukraine and Russia. It's a proxy war between the U.S., European countries, Canada against Russia, and that must end. Now I'm very disappointed with, leaders in Europe who are, boosting their defense, programs to be ready to maybe go ahead with that fight in Ukraine and helping Ukraine. For me, it's not the right position. It's not our war in Ukraine as Canadians, and we must. My government, the federal government in Canada, did spend about $15 billion up to now to help Ukraine. And we must stop that. We have a lot of Canadians who are suffering right now. They don't have a job. It's very difficult. And we have that inflation in Canada. So that's why, I believe that Populist Party in Europe and us in Canada, we will be able to have a bright future if we stick on our ideas and telling the truth to our people in our countries.
I think so, the same. And actually, if you know the history, unfortunately it was America with Maidan, and then they had a civil war for around about 8, 9 years. And yes, it was against the United Nations contract that Putin went into Ukraine. But I think the first peace talks were in Istanbul, 22, so 2 months later, and the peace contract already was there to sign. Everybody wanted to sign, and all of a sudden, Mr. The guy from on that time, the Prime Minister of Great Britain.
Yeah, Boris Helsin.
Yes.
Boris, yeah.
So, and he said, no, we are going to support you. And 1 million people died, humans, families. And that's, on my opinion, it's terrible. And I think we should be a bit further in our evolution, on my opinion. And I always say the people who are crying or shouting for war, they just should go to the front and have 2 weeks at the front, and then they never ever will say anything like, oh, we have to get into the war and we have to fight. And we have the same, we have unfortunately a chancellor who was head member of board at BlackRock, and BlackRock, they have got 5% of our war industry of Rheinmetall. So it's everything just money, making money on account of cannon power, and those are the people. And I would really say all those people who are shouting for war, they have to be at the front for at least 2, 3 weeks and realize what war really is all about. And then nobody will start any war anymore. It makes no sense. I think it's just, and I would cap the war industry and change it into nature, permaculture, connection to the world and to trees or something like that, which is not much better than killing. And we have the same, actually. We got the same situation like you. All pensioners, they really have to get everywhere to get some glasses and put them back and get money out of it, so they're almost starving. They work their whole life, and that's inhuman, seriously inhuman. And on my opinion, those people who are right now the main, let's say, protagonist in our political world, on my opinion, they are really criminals. And we in Germany, we had a group, the Germans for Freedom, or the Germans Stand Up, And we said one of the most important thing is that they need to be responsible. They need to go to jail if they do something wrong.
Absolutely. What happened to us in Canada during COVID-19, uh, you know, uh, you were not able to work, or if you didn't have the jab. I was not personally able to travel across the country because, I decided not to take that experimental medication. We were not able to participate in the society, going to restaurant and things like that. A lot of people also did have injuries because of these so-called vaccine, and they need to have justice. And actually, right now, they are not able to have that. But these people who did that to us must be accountable for what they did. But here in Canada, the mainstream media and these establishment politicians are ready to turn the page and say, nothing happened, just turn the page. But we are the only party that is asking questions and want these people to be accountable and responsible for what they did. And actually, our position right now on the COVID vaccine and the mRNA vaccine is that must be withdrawn from the market. We must have a moratorium on these vaccines, but these establishment political parties like the conservatives and the liberals are okay with that. So when you speak about these people must be responsible, these leaders, yes, I agree with you 100%.
Yes, I think so as well. So we formed Die Basis. It's also a party out of this Corona thing, and we said the same. And well, uh, I've got lots of friends. They just printed their own vaccine things instead of money, vaccine papers. So there were several people who went around, which is very good, in my opinion. Even so, it's a bit criminal, but it's a good criminality. And yes, we have the same. So our AfD, or this party, they also want that those people need to be responsible for what they did. And unfortunately, my brother, he was or is the main supporter of BioNTech. And they actually, him and my other brother, they created this pharmacological business to fight against cancer with mRNA, which is a very good thing, in my opinion. It's a good idea. I wouldn't do it like that, but it's an idea. So, and during the first, let's say, 1 year, so 2020, we had lots of talks about, is the vaccine good or is it bad? And I always said to him, well, normally you have to really have at least 10 years to find out if there are bad things in it or not. And so it's like a test time of testing. And I think it was this whole thing was just made up because we in Germany we had Bill Gates, very nice. He went on airtime at our news, which is very important. It's like CNN news, and he said, "Yes, we are going to vaccine 9 billion people," and that was really interesting. And as you know, he is organics, so he is really like Aldous Huxley, Brave New World. Really a bit, yeah, very poor soul. So very poor soul. He just lost his heart, I guess, and soul as well. And yes, it was. I think it's, in my opinion, it's changing, and it's changing, like you as well said, all over the world. People are realizing the truth in account of the alternative medias, because they really, they yeah, they just show the truth. They scrutinize. They go behind the curtain. And yeah, I think it still will take a bit and a while, but and hopefully this war will end, and especially this genocide in Palestine. Uh,
Yeah.
Mr. Netanyahu, I would put him into a sanatory and heal his soul, because killing makes no sense. But in jail, maybe he should read some good books about life. And yes, I think yeah, there are certain things which are really need to be changed. And on my opinion as well, like you have your party, the People's Party. We say, and also the AfD, they say that we have to have a direct democracy where the people, like in Switzerland, they vote. They, and not only a representative democracy, they vote every year 2 or 3 things which are very important, and from the small into the big. So from the small little regions to the whole country. So I think that's the way it should turn. And there was a very interesting lady, Eleonora Öström, and she won a peace Nobel Prize in economy. And her idea was that really it might need to be from the small to the big. So it's not from
Okay.
up to down; it's from the
Yeah.
bottom up.
Yeah. Yeah. And for us, when we decided to create the People's Party in Canada, like I said, our ideas, we had people who were asking us, you must have a position on climate change, you must have a position on, and that would be different. But it's easy when you have strong ideas based on the constitution of your country and based on free market principles and believing in people first. So that's why we call the party the People's Party, because we have faith in people. We believe in them. We have faith that they have the ability, the dignity, and the right to make their own decisions and determine their own destiny. So the People's Party, the peoples must have a say, and that's why we are offering that alternative in that democracy, in the democratic system in Canada. You have the mainstream media who are doing polling and focus group and come back with a new policies at every election. And for us, no, let's stick over on our principles. And the more we do that, I believe the more popular we'll be and our time will come. Like I said at the last campaign here in Canada, when Canadians will be ready, the People's Party is there. And so the People's Party will be there when people are ready for the changes and the bold reforms that we are proposing. So it's very different than try to be elected right now with telling people what they want to hear based, and we don't want to do that because they're manipulated. Like I said in the beginning, it's easier for a politician to be elected by doing that. But I believe that when you are strong and debating great ideas, you will gain credibility during time. And you can go on social media and you can see some speeches that I did 10 years ago. And today I'm seeing the same thing. So you gain credibility. And I think it's important in politics. And the People's Party is there for the long term, and we are doing that fight. It's too important for the future of our country, but also for the future of Western civilizations.
Yeah. What do you think about BRICS?
Oh yeah, I was very happy with that. And actually, I know that the UN and the EU, they try to have a world government, but in Europe, you have that with the EU. They are telling your country what they can do or not. And in UK, they decided to take back their sovereignty, and that's great. But the UN wants to do the same, not tomorrow, but maybe in 50 years, that's their goal, to have a global government. I'm a patriot. I believe in our country. I believe in, real patriotism, fighting for the country. And, all these globalists who wants to impose their views using the UN with climate change, or using the UN with the 15-minute cities, or using the UN to promote socialist ideas, uh, you know, like more deficit and bigger debt. No, I believe that what UK did, it's the right thing. But maybe the question is it too late in UK? I was there, 15 years ago, and I believe that if I'm going back today, London won't be the same. They're affected with mass immigration. That's why you have Nigel and the reform that is very popular over there. But yes, you need to fight for your people. And it's, for me, it's immoral if you have a politicians that is promoting globalist ideas and opening the doors to mass immigration, because when that politician is doing that, they're not working for their people, they're working for migrants. And we, the people living in the country, are paying for that. The first priority of a leader, a politician leader, must be to be sure that his or her population will have the good services. But when you have that mass immigration, you are giving everything to these migrants. They didn't pay anything. And here in Canada, they have dental care, they have everything. And we are having, people, reunification of family. And so what is happening? We have older people that are coming here, that we will have to take care of them with our health care system. And right now, that is not efficient for Canadians, and you add more people. So for me, when you push mass immigration, it's immoral. And also, that's having a huge impact on your country. And that's why I believe, add the economy and the mass immigration. And that's why you have that Brexit in UK. And maybe other European country will try to do the same. I don't know. But I'm there to fight for my country first. And when you spoke about the war in Middle East, we are against that. We are not pro-Israel, we are not pro-Palestine, we are pro-Canadians, and that's it. And we don't have any say in that war. Canada won't change anything. The only country that can do something is the US. If President Trump just stopped to give ammunitions to Israel, that war will end. But our focus is on Canadians, and we don't want to participate in that, like we didn't want us to participate in the war in Ukraine. So that's why I believe that we are putting our country first, and we are putting Canadian first by having these policies.
Well, I think that's the most, let's say, best idea to put your first well, there was Friedrich Engels and Karl Marx. And Friedrich Engels, he always said, and he had a business, and he said, the first is your family. That's the most important. So first family, always first family. So I love my brother as well, even though he has a different idea. So first family. And then first, the next one is your surrounding. And the next is your country. So if that's there, everything is in balance. Everybody is good. Everybody has the possibility to grow, to be creative, to support their own life. Then, when this is the basement of this is done, then you can help as well other countries. But on my opinion, it makes no sense to that everybody will get into your country. It's better, we have a wonderful world, and they have also their roots. They are born in Syria or in Palestine or in in Africa, and they have their roots there. So they should go, and roots are very important. Like for example, I'm born here in Germany, in Bavaria, and I love my country. I'm an absolutely patriot of Bavaria. So it's a beautiful country. It's a wonderful tradition, customs. It's just awesome, in my opinion. So I love it. And Maasai people, they have also their traditions. They love their country. So, in my opinion, maybe we could make exchanges of young kids. You know, that they can have 1 year to go to the Maasai's or to other countries, learn the language, and let's say bring their ideas in the countries. Maybe they can take it or leave it and make an exchange. But to immigration, and like we have in Germany as well, makes no sense. It's just it's stupid. You know, you can't get everybody in your country. It's like a house and it's blowing up, sort of, because there are too many people in your house. You know, it's like, and in Germany, for example, our doctors, our dentists, they have too many patients from every other country than Germany.
Yeah.
So
So
it's
that's having a huge impact on, your people and the economy and the services that, people can receive. But what is happening right now is still, I know that in Germany, the immigration, are they trying, the leaders over there, the establishment leaders, are they trying to reduce the immigration or migration numbers, or it's the same and so they don't do anything?
well, actually, it's a CDU, CSU, CDU, CSU, and they all of a sudden realized that the AfD, which got much more votes because they are really saying, okay, we have to do something. We had in Hamburg, we had a demonstration of nothing against. I have friends; they are from Syria or Palestine, wheresoever. But they had a couple of people who made a demonstration and said, "We need caliphate. We need caliphate." So caliphate, I don't know if everybody knows what it is, but if we really have this sort of thought and mindset, then we are back to the ancient time, so medieval age. So we got out of it already as Christians, and so I think it's different. You shouldn't. It's very good to go to other cultures and be aware of other cultures, and it's beautiful, but you shouldn't mix two you shouldn't mix cultures who are totally the opposite.
Yeah.
It makes no sense, and if they fall in love, then they will find a way, of course. And that's we are all connected, and on this earth we are all connected, of course.
Yeah.
But still, well, we are Christians here, it's a Christian country, especially here
Yeah.
in Bavaria. And and if I go to another country, like I've been to Israel as well, and Iran, then I stick to their laws, to their ideas, and I get dressed, which is okay. I
Yes.
wouldn't like to, but so I think it's very important to value all different cultures.
Yeah.
And I think we can't save everybody. We can't just save
Yeah.
everybody. It's they. A friend of mine, he has a very, what I think is really cool. He has got uh, he made a foundation for Ghana people. They
Mhm.
can study in Germany for free. They get everything for free, but they have to go back to their country and build it up.
Yeah.
And that's
That
perfect.
that's Yeah, that's a good idea. And what you are speaking about, it's the idea of multiculturalism. Multiculturalism has failed, and that was a failed experiment in Germany, in Europe, in UK, in Canada. But here in Canada, we think that all culture are equal, and that's not the case. I'm not racist by saying that. It's only a reality. All culture are not equal. And when you push multiculturalism, that's what we are doing here in Canada. If you add mass immigration plus multiculturalism, that's a perfect storm because we have more people coming to our country. They don't share, a lot of them don't share our values. And we are telling them, if you don't speak English or French, it's okay. And you can promote your values, and we are promoting that. For example, there's programs at the federal level where the federal government in Canada is giving money, for example, to the Chinese community to celebrate the Chinese New Year. I don't have anything against the Chinese New Year, but if you want to celebrate that, use your own money. That must not be money coming from taxpayers. And so the federal government must promote our culture, our identity, Western civilizations. And yet, like you said, this country has been built by, people coming from UK, from France, from Europe, and also with First Nation. But now you have more people coming to our country. They don't speak English or French. They cannot integrate into our society. They cannot be part of our society. They're living in ghettos. And yes, we have ghettos in Canada, in Brampton, Ontario, in Surrey, British Columbia, where people are living there, speaking their language, practicing their religion, and the federal government is promoting that. That's why we, the People's Party, we want to abolish the Multiculturalism Act. We want to stop funding multiculturalism and start funding, promoting our culture and our values. And so being more strict on immigration by having that moratorium. And the day that we will reopen our country for immigrants, they will have to have an interview, a face-to-face interview. We will ask questions about their values, and they will have to be able to have a job in Canada and being part of the society, being able to work and paying taxes. So we will need to be stricter with selecting our immigrants. But for now, let's stop that mass immigration in Canada, abolishing the Multiculturalism Act, promoting our identity. But when you don't do that, it is our social fabric that is not the same, and the trust in our society is not the same, and that's affecting our way of life. And I think it's happening in Europe, it's happening in Western countries, and it's so sad that our leaders of today are not ready to look at the truth and the facts and the reality, and stopping that mass immigration in Europe and in Canada and in US.
Why do you think that nowadays politicians, like you just said, why do you think that are they blind? Where does it come from? What is their they normally people they want to do everything for their people as a
Yeah.
politician. Why do you think that they want to help people and do not realize the reality, or do you think that it is this United Nation one world order, Kissinger, the new world order? Where do you think it comes from? And do you think that they might be like Trudeau, who was a member of the global leaders, that it is a worldwide scenario of World Evil Forum.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Alexandra, it's both. First, yes, a leader, a politician is a human and they want to help. And for them, helping people coming from other countries to come and to have a better life, a better economic life. I think it's more important for them than, like you said in the beginning, helping first your family, and after that your community, and after that your country. But for them, these socialist leaders and globalists, it's more important. The first priority for them is to help other peoples to have a better future. Yes, it's sad to see in other countries that they don't have the same standard of living of us, standard of living, but that's the reality. And we must help these countries to be like us with more freedom and more free markets. But also you have the influence of these national, international organizations like the UN, like the World Economic Forum, who are promoting socialist ideas and open borders policies, and they want to be part of these global leaders, and they're very proud to have meetings and thinking that they know better than anybody and imposing their views. I always said the World Economic Forum or the World Health Organization, they don't have any authority on us Canadians. They have a huge influence because our politicians in Canada agree with these ideas. We are a sovereign country in Canada, and we can say no to that and ending the relationship with the World Economic Forum or the World Health Organizations. And they don't, the UN doesn't have an army to impose their visions. They're very efficient at promoting there and with young leaders, and they are promoting and propaganda, and they're very efficient. And it's why, in Europe and in Canada, you have almost the same policies because it's coming from the same organizations, international organization, but also human nature. And these people think that it would be great if they're helping a lot of people to have a better future by coming to our countries.
Well, but isn't there a common sense as well, normally, in
Yeah.
everybody?
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know where is the common sense for them. It's not there. You're absolutely right.
Okay, good. Otherwise, I've been a volunteer in South Africa, so
Oh,
I'm very I'm absolutely a helper. I'm I have a helping syndrome. Really funny. And I was developed by myself, so I realized that other countries have other cultures and they have to grow by themselves. Everybody has to grow by themselves. And you can bring those people to study in your country and realize, oh, this and that might be very good. But in the end, it's always you by yourself have to change what is in your country, in my
yeah.
opinion. So I think that's common sense. And well, like you just said before, it's just a matter of time. People are more and more waking up, realizing the truth, and observing what's the good and bad of immigration. And for example, I've got an acquaintance. He had to flee from Syria because he was a police officer, and in Syria it's totally crazy. But in Syria you got the Shiites and Sunnis, and the Sunnis they have to get away from. No, they need to be at home at 6 o'clock, and if they're not at home, they go to jail. And one of his neighbors, an old chap, he went by and he said, okay, just come on and go home. You have to go home. I have to go get you to jail. And because of this, he got to jail for 3 months and really crazy. So, and then he said, I have to leave this country. And I understand it. And on my opinion, those people who then, let's say, stayed a couple of years in Germany, they should go back to help their own countrymen, to change it. You know, you just can change in your own country. And if you have your roots there, then it's your obligation to change it, in my opinion. It's actually your obligation to really get into your country and change it, and yeah, just impose more democracy or other ways of thought. And I think that will happen, in my opinion. I don't know if you know, it's the Indians. They have the Veden. It's called Veden, and they said we had the Kali Yuga, and now we are going to have the Zai Yuga, which is truth and love. So we're just on the beginning of it, and the more transparency people get, the more truth and behind the curtain, the more I think people will vote for the right people and will change by themselves and step up and get their courage to step up, which is also very important. Courage.
Yeah.
I don't know how to involve it, and maybe it's also that we have different ways of education. The young people, they start to live democracy, you know, different opinions, to fight with each other, but with respect and with humor as well, because we are all different. We have all different thoughts,
Yeah.
and we can learn from each other. And I think it's a long way to go, but we are in the beginning of a new, yeah, not a new world. I think new way of democracy and real democracy.
Yeah, but also, Alexandra, we like you just said, a new world order also, because now the US is not the dominant superpower that it was, and you have a multipolar world right now with Russia, India, China, and the US, and that will have an impact in a couple of years. So the influence of the US government is not the same. I believe you'll have regional powers, US in America, Europe, and that's a good thing, because I believe in competition of ideas, competition. So if you have more than one superpower, I think it would be better for the world. We'll see. But the good news, it's yes, everything is changing, and I think pretty fast. Not as fast as I want, as a politician, but we are on the right side of the history. And that's great, because we need to do that fight. And I'm very pleased that in Germany, you're doing that. And, it's great to have an opportunity to speak with you about what is happening in Canada, and to explain that, we have globally the same big problems, the policies that are hurting our countries, your and mine, and we'll be able to solve that. It's a question of time and telling the truth. And you spoke about, and you said we need courage. And yes, you're right. The courage of your idea, the courage to speak and tell the truth. Because, if you don't have any discussion, if you have the best ideas and you keep these ideas for yourself, you won't help, you won't promote anything. If you believe in something, you must stand up and speak up for what you believe. And the more people, and being able to express your point of view, don't cancel yourself or censor yourself. Be out there and speak. That's what I'm telling to our people in Canada. If you are there and speak about your ideas, what you believe, with passion and conviction, this political party, this movement will grow faster. And but it's a question of time. More people understand, and they can see the reality every day in the news and what's happening, and they can see that we are losing our countries here in Canada and in Europe. So our time will come. It's a question to be patient and doing that fight.
Yeah, I absolutely with you. Definitely. Yeah, I would say so. And like you said, there's Voltaire. He said, "You have a totally different opinion than I got, but I would give my life for it to listen to it." So I
Yeah,
think it's very important as well. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, well then, be brave.
yeah,
Thank you very, very much. And I think the better we are connected, all those people who are living with a common sense and with a heart for people, with the love for people, we need to get together and yeah, and form a better world.
yeah. That's a big task, but uh, that's I like what I'm doing. I'm fighting for Canadians, and I'm fighting for what I believe. I have two daughters, for my daughters to be in a better society, and that's a big task. But if everybody, and that's why having that conversation with you, it's encouraging, because I know that something is happening in Europe, something is happening in Germany, and you know that something is happening in Canada. So our time will come. I strongly believe that.